am Jim Bob, and welcome back to another episode of American Midwest. So the rain has stopped. We've accelerated time. The sun has come out. The sky's nice and bright. We've got a few clouds in the sky, but that's normal. Everything is spot on now. Everything's dry, and the crops are dried out and ready to harvest. So it's time for us to continue where we left off last time out, and today we're going to be working on our wheat. So, first things first, I have relented and I have purchased a working toolbox. I've added this mod in so that I can amend my vehicles without having to constantly pay 1,000 each time. So, first things first, let's put standard wheels back on our Terra variant. Like so. There we go. Now the reason I'm using the Terra variant to start with is we have the auger tank for it, the grain auger, as you can see just there. And we're going to be using this to offload into our truck, because 2 trailers worth at least, maybe even 3, but probably just the 2 trailers worth are going to be sent up to our dairy farm and stored in the silo up there so that we have a food source for our pigs. So I'm just going to park this here for a second. Now, somewhere around here, I think it's by the water tower, I have my truck as well, so we need to bring that around and get that onto the farm. This really doesn't feel like running speed, does it? This feels like a brisk walk or a slow jog. It doesn't feel like running. It'd be nice to be able to move a little bit faster, but here we go, here's the truck. So let's move this closer to the field, just so it's easier for us to unload our grain into it. There we go, and we'll park that up just here. Now we need the harvester. Now that's obviously in the shed here on the end. We're not going to be using the corn header just yet, but we will have that on standby for when we do need it. But today we're doing wheat, so we need the draper. Oh, not lined up properly. Let's try that again. There we go. So let's get this lined up at the end of the field. It's one of the ropier looking interiors in here for the new vehicles. Those air vents in the corners there, they don't look particularly good, I have to say. They do look a little bit bad. And one thing I have noticed is that some of these older assets that have been sort of tweaked a little bit and updated for Farming Sim 17 from the 15 base game, their interiors do tend to suffer a little bit in comparison to some of the newer stuff. I mean, you compare the interior of, the Big Bud stuff to the interior of this harvester, and there's just no contest. Right. So let's get lined up on the edge of the field. That's looking pretty good. And let's get a worker off and underway. So we need to be in our Terra variant. And we should get, I don't know, somewhere close to 10,000 litres, I think, on a single pass. I don't think we'll be hitting capacity, which is 12,500 litres. But we'll certainly get more than half a tank in the grain tank on that combine, so we need to unload it when it's heading in this direction, just to make sure that it doesn't stop with the pipe facing into the crop. Let's change our cruise control setting down to 6. There we go. Let's see if I can do this in cab. looking pretty good. Just got to make sure I'm driving straight now. Wish I had a mirror that would let me see back through that window. Or, you know, if that monitor worked, that would be amazing. If I had a little camera somewhere. But it is good that we do have that window. It means I can actually kind of keep an eye on the pipe, and if not seeing the pipe itself, I can certainly see where the grain itself is coming out. That'll help line us up. I mean, you look at the quality of the interior in here and how sharp and crisp everything looks, and how nice the details are, and it's just so much better than that old combine there, which is one of the older assets. This was in Farming Sim 15, but it was an added DLC, so this is one of their newer vehicles. You know, that's obviously something that's been around for, you know, quite some time now, and so the interior, in contrast to this, does suffer a little bit. And when you compare it against the I say the Big Bud stuff that went live back in, when was it May? Yeah, I think it was May, wasn't it? Yeah, it's just no contest. There we go. So yeah, we're going to be unloading from our auger into our truck, and once we've got a full trailer, or close to a full trailer, we'll run that up to the farm up at the top with our animals. We'll be storing in the depot up there. That we've got that grain silo next to where we placed the mill. So we're storing our animal grain in there for our pigs, so that we can make sure that they're fed properly. And then anything that gets left over, you know, will stay in those silos up there. And once we've got a couple of trailers worth of grain in there, we won't have to keep ferrying back and forth from this farm all the way up there just to feed our pigs. We'll have some on hand, as it were. And then whatever's left, we'll be storing in our grain silos just there. So we've got plenty of space to store stuff. We've got a couple 100,000 litres of capacity up at the animal farm, and we've got 800,000 litres of storage down here. So we can store 1 million litres, 1,010,000 litres of grain. That's quite a nice tidy amount. And then obviously we've got all this straw here as well. This is going to be scooped up with our Lely forage wagon and taken up. Most of it will get taken up to the animal farm until I'm happy with a nice comfortable amount, and then the rest will bale up, and then we'll sell that off. And we're going to sell that into the incinerator just here. Now, I've heard a few people saying that this works, a few people saying it doesn't work. The main problem seems to be people trying to tip in here with a trailer, just trying to back up the ramp and tip loose straw into this, saying it just doesn't work, and they end up getting this clogged up with straw that they can't get back. Other people have said that it does work if you use a bucket and tip in with a shovel or a bucket loader. Haven't tried it myself. We will obviously be trying that pretty soon, and I'm pretty sure it'll take bales as well. I'm hoping it'll take bales. The plan is to kind of bale them up to make it easier to transport a load, but we'll see how that goes. That is obviously something that we need to deal with a little bit later. But both our cows and our pigs need straw for bedding, so we need to make sure that they're both taken care of, and then that we have a decent supply of loose straw in our forage and chip silo on the dairy farm, so that we can again top up our straw levels whenever we need to, and not have to worry about making sure that we have a grain harvest that produces straw on hand every time we start to run a little bit low in our bedding. It looks like combine's just hit 80%. And we're a little bit off target. That works. Switch back to make sure I'm driving in a straight line. Looking pretty good so far. Now this auger has a capacity of, I think, 25,000 litres, maybe 26. So once this is full, then that will provide just under half a trailer for our semi-trailer. Gives us a good indication of just how much we're going to need. We've done, what, 1, 2, we're on our third pass. Where do we look like we're on the field at the moment? Oh, we've still got plenty of the field to go, so yeah, we can easily get 2 trailers worth up to the main farm, the dairy farm, maybe even 3 trailers worth. Like I said, when we get some grain up there, we're going to immediately feed our pigs with some of it and see how much they need. I'd like to try and get both their wheat and their corn levels up there as quickly as possible. Then all we'll need will be the canola. That's currently still in growth. That's in stage 2 of growth right now. Oh, and there we go. We're full. 25,000 litres. So we need to unload this. Let's pipe out. We get a big old gap between our trailer and the auger itself, so it can be quite wide. There we go. And I was wondering why it was so wide, but maybe it's so that we can actually see it like this when we look out through the window. We can actually see where the pipe is. That to me makes sense. Because if you look outside, it does seem a really long pipe. We can fit another semi-trailer in that gap there, but when you're in cab and you're looking through the window like that, you can only just see it sticking out. So maybe that's the reason why the pipe is as long as it is. It's so that we can actually see it from inside the cab. And there we go. That's our first semi-trailer loader. So now we just have to wait for the combine to come back and start that whole process all over again. So what we're going to do, I'll turn the engine off, is we're going to start gathering up some of that straw while we're waiting as well. We're going to have so much of it that we may as well get on with that. Let's jump into our Optum. Are we running twins on this? We are. Yes, let's take the twin wheels off. So we'll drive up to here. Let's approach and switch to wide tyres. There we go. And now we just need to collect our forage trailer, which I think is in this one. There it is. And we'll be using the big body there to transport our grain once I'm happy with the amount that we've transported up to the main farm. Using the semi-truck simply because it holds more and it's faster as well. So let's start this at the far end. Might as well. Need to be careful with the positioning of where the combine is so that we don't let that overfill. So we're just going to get this into position. Like so. And now we need to unload our combine again. Oh, that's perfect. There we go. I just need to make sure I'm driving in that straight line again. There we go. Can't see anything of the pipe in the mirrors, but if we look out through the back window we can see the grain going up nicely there. And more importantly, we can see where the grain is filling in from as well. We can see it dropping down. We do look like we're drifting ever so slightly, so just a little tweak of the steering there. Yeah, we are drifting. There we go, seems to be a bit straighter now. Just need to go a little bit further, just to make sure that the combine won't max out on the way back. That seems to be about right. That's pretty close, so we'll pull off here. I'm going to send this back over and parked up, ready for the next load. We are actually progressing through this field really quickly. A lot quicker than I thought we would. And is that half of my crop not grown in? I think that might, if that is, that's a problem. It is. Look at that. That's a problem. Half of my field hasn't finished growing. Oh, that's not good. It's the same with our corn as well. Well, I'll tell you what, then we'll harvest what we've got, and then we'll feed that to the animals, and then we'll finish the harvest off when the other halves of the fields grow in. Why has that not grown at a uniform rate? I mean, I saw that on the map. But I just assumed that was an error. But no, it turns out that is genuinely what's happened. We've only grown half a field. Oh, that's not good. Why is it grown in such a weird stage like that? Maybe it's a bug. It's happened everywhere, look. It's happened on these fields. It's happened on this one. You can see there's a different two-tone of green on that one there as well. That is bizarre. That is very bizarre. Okay, so we only have half a field of wheat to harvest, and then we've got another half that's still growing. If that's the case, I better turn the growth cycle back on again. Oh, there we go. As soon as I turned it back on, boom, maybe I just turned it off a fraction too fast. And then you can see in the background, look there, another field has just changed its growth state. That's more like it. We have a full harvest again. I was slightly worried for a second then. So we can do our entire field. That's good. And while we've been messing around with that, our combine has come most of the way back again. So we may as well just wait for it now. While we are waiting for the combine, today is Friday the 20th. Which means Real Farm Sim from Tedesco is now available. It's $34.99 here in the UK, so I'm guessing $39.99 in the States. There is a premium edition as well. It's $44.99, so it's an extra tenner here in the UK. So I'm guessing it'll be an extra $10 in America as well. It should say $49.99. The premium edition, or I think it's the deluxe edition they're calling it. Is basically it's the game plus the in-game soundtrack, which you can own, and download. That is 15 tracks, 29 minutes in total running length. You also get a couple of themes and some avatars as well. Whether or not that's worth an extra tenner is entirely your decision. I am waiting for my press copy to go live. It's about 7:30 in the morning here at the moment, so Tedesco have said they're going to send me a review copy as soon as they go live. It's a little bit early at the moment, assuming that their office is open at 9 AM in Europe. That's still another half an hour, because they are an hour ahead of me, before their offices even open. And I'm not expecting to get an email with the redemption code for the review copy as soon as their office opens. So at some point today I should be getting my copy from Tedesco. I'll get that downloaded, and as soon as I've got it installed, I will fire that up, and I will get some footage up on the channel for you. You'll be able to see just how it looks on consoles. Obviously, there's already PC footage floating around out there. Quite a lot of YouTubers have been able to get their hands on press release copies. Whether or not they were the completed version or not, I don't know. But as I say, I should be getting my hands on my own review copy a little bit later today. And as soon as I do get that installed, then I will start recording some footage for you. We're going to run a whole series of videos on Real Farm Sim. I have absolutely no idea whether it's going to run well on the PS4, how well it's going to look on the PS4, or how much interest there's going to be. But I am planning on giving the game a very fair shake, and running it for more than just one or two videos. I am planning on doing sort of a series on it, so we'll be able to really get to grips with the game and form a proper opinion of it, rather than just a sort of a one-off play and is it worth it kind of thing. We'll actually have a proper run at it over multiple episodes to actually see if this game truly is a contender or an also-ran. I have my suspicions that it's not going to be up to snuff when compared to this game, but it is Tedesco's first attempt, and I think that is something that needs to be taken into consideration. So, like I said, once I get my copy installed, I'll be running some games on that, trying it out, and I'll be giving it a fair crack of the whip. I won't be singing its praises just because I got the copy for free, but likewise I'm not going to slam it just because it doesn't have any licensed brands, etc, etc. I will give it a thorough playthrough and then make my own opinion based on that. Alright, so that's parked up. Let's start gathering some straw. So we can hold about 42,000 litres of straw in this, I believe. I think it's 42,000. But it's filling up pretty quickly, as you can see. We're going to need to take multiple loads up to the farm for our animals, because with two different sets of animals that require straw bedding, we are going to burn through it very, very quickly. So I would say at least half of this field is going up to our dairy farm to fill our animal troughs or our animal bedding areas, and also to go into storage so that we don't need to do regular straw gathering like this. And that's not a bad haul. 35,000 litres of straw off a single pass. That's not too bad at all. Let's run back the other way. This thing's going to be full any second. There we go, it is full. My combine's actually making really good time, so we're not going to have enough time, I think. Well, maybe. Maybe we'll have enough time to run up to the farm. I don't think we will. So, I think what we'll do is we'll park up just here. Like so. Let's jump back into... Yeah, look, see, we're at the end already. We'll let the combine turn. And then once we've grabbed a load, we'll just top up that semi-trailer so that's ready. We're actually going to go and deliver that first, I think. kind of need an extra pair of hands on this one, really, to be able to get everything done all at once. Oops, we've gone a little bit too far too fast. There we go. Which side is my pipe? It's that side, isn't it? And there it says we're travelling at 6.2 kilometers per hour. We're actually travelling at 6.2 miles per hour. But that is just permanently showing kph. So while the speed changes, the actual speed unit of speed doesn't. It's a little bit of an oversight, but it's not a major problem. Alright, are we far enough along the field yet? Not quite. I want to go a little bit further. Like I say, we've got a lot of stuff to move, and I don't really want the combine to stop if I can help it. So we're going to end up pretty much filling this thing by the time we get to the end. So I may as well just stay here now. Run to the end of the field. You know, that's close enough. It'll give me a little bit of a head start if I break off now. So, pipe out. There we go. Can't see the pipe, but I can see the hydraulics. Would that be no, that'd be pneumatics, wouldn't it? Right, so need this to hurry up and fill. Combine's turning around in the background there. Right, and off we go. Speed our way up to the farm. Once we get there, as soon as we start unloading, we'll probably have to switch vehicles back again, just so that we don't let the combine fill up. It's times like this I really wish we had courseplay, so that I could actually have, you know, delivery routes like this programmed in, and that way I could concentrate on making sure that everything else was going without having to worry about constantly swapping vehicles while I'm in the middle of trying to do other jobs. But it's unlikely we will ever have courseplay or some version of courseplay on consoles. Certainly not in this version of Farming Sim. But with all these different farming games that are coming out, obviously we've got Real Farm Sim out today, we've got, you know, Giants have got their own game, Farming Simulator 17, which comes out every 2 years. We've got Pure Farming coming out next year as well. There is the UIG Professional Farmer series, which is quite frankly appalling. You know, all of those games are available on consoles. They're starting to get, you know, and obviously more than that on PC as well. They're all available on PC, and there are even more farming games on PC. There's a lot of competition in the marketplace now for farming games, so Giants are going to have to raise their game for Farming Sim 19, or the rest they potentially could get caught flat-footed, and they could lose a big chunk of their audience if they're not careful. If the rest of the farming games, you know, can get their act together and put out a really strong title, and Pure Farming is looking good. Out of all the games that are there at the moment, Pure Farming is the one, I think, that is looking to be the closest competition to Giants, it means that Giants are going to have to step their game up, or else they're going to be in trouble. Their series will stagnate, and fans will start looking elsewhere. And of course, on PC, you've got Cattle and Crops that's in development at the moment. It's still not technically officially released. It's still in sort of early access beta, and it's getting a lot of updates on a pretty regular basis, but it's still not officially released, at least not as a finished article. So there's all these different farming games coming out, and as I say, Giants are going to have to start adding in additional features. We're going to need improvements to the game. Just improving the visual look isn't going to cut the mustard. They're going to have to add in extra features and extra functionality. I think there's going to be there's definitely a demand for more of a management style in farming games. Real Farm Sim offers you a career mode where you can start off as a worker and earn your way through working up to the point where you can actually buy your own farm. Pure Farming allows you to own farms on various different continents. Farm Sim is you can own a farm wherever you want, and it's got full mod support from a fantastic modding community. So that is the major plus for Farm Simulator. But you look at some of those other games out there, like Farm Expert series on the PC, has allowed you to do so much more, with some of the management aspects and upgrading and developing your farm and adding in extra buildings that perform different duties on your farm. And you look at some of the stuff that the modders create for this, being able to create all these different crop types and how all these different things work together, being able to make your own seeds, make your own fuel, things like that. Some of the stuff that modders like Stevie come up with for PC users. Giants are going to have to start looking at doing some of that in the base game, I think, and not just leaving it up to the modding community, or else they are going to end up potentially in a situation where part of their audience does start to, spend less time with their game and go elsewhere. So they do need to really, I think, step up to take it to another level for Farming Sim 19. And I'm really kind of curious and excited to see what they do. But we're still a year away from that yet, so we haven't even had the Platinum expansion yet. That comes out in just over 2 weeks, about 3 weeks' time. A little over 3 weeks. About 3.5 weeks, I think. November 14th is when the Platinum expansion goes live. And obviously that's going to take us to South America, bring in a new crop type, and some new equipment and machinery, and a new map. So definitely some more stuff on the way from Giants. But yeah, 19 is going to need a big step forward, I think. Especially with all these other farming games sort of nipping at their heels. Okay, so this time out I have a bit of a plan. I'm just tagging the combine yet again. Actually, we're making really good progress through the field. I think we're only going to run 2 containers, and then the rest will store down here. We can always ship more up if we need to, but if we just run 2 containers, that'll be enough for now, I think. But I'm going to wait till this finishes unloading, which is now. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and park this at the end of the field, and then the combine will unload into it again when it gets there, and it'll stop and it'll pause while it empties. That way we can make sure that it's fully unloaded before it turns around and goes back down the field again. Need to park about there. That should do it. And also it gives me time now to drive some straw up to the other farm. So let's make our way up. Nip out in front of this car here. So yeah, hopefully this will get us up there in time to actually not just take the straw up there, but also tip it as well. We're going to go for our cows first, because the cows are the money makers. The pigs are simply, just producing slurry for us at the moment, and we are going to start looking to sell some pigs off in the future. But the cows are the ones that bring in the real money. I was going to say bring in the bacon for a second then, but that would be the pigs. The pigs are the ones that bring in the bacon. There we go. It's almost a shame in a way that there isn't a way to transport stuff up to the farm by the train. I mean, the train runs through the farmyard, but there is no drop-off point here at the farm. It just kind of runs through the back of the animal pens, kind of cuts the area in half, but there's no stopping point, no place for you to load or unload. That's a little bit of a shame. Be nice if we had a grain transfer point here. Alright, so let's put some straw down for our cows. And let's check in. And that's worked perfectly, look. Alright, so while that's unloading, I'm going to go and park this next to the truck with the pipe out. And that'll give me, hopefully, time to bring the Optum back down again. This is the kind of shuffling that we have to do where we're in single player. When we've got multiple jobs that require more than one person, but we don't have more than one person. We just have to try and make do as best we can. There we go. So that's now unloaded. I just want to check, see how much straw we've added. Well, pretty much maxed out. There's just a little bit of space left. So those cows are good for days. We don't have to worry about them. They've got just a fraction, maybe under 6 days worth of straw. So we're going to whiz this back down. And then it'll be the pigs next. I wonder how much the pigs are going to need. Probably not quite as much, I would imagine. They certainly don't need as much, or don't produce as much slurry. I'm guessing they won't produce as much solid manure either. But that's it now. Our cows will be at 100%. They have water, they have grass, they have TMR, and now they have straw bedding as well. So they will have 100% productivity, which means even more milk money at the end of the day. And on top of that, they will now start producing solid manure for us as well as the slurry. So that's fantastic. Our cows are now operating at 100% efficiency. This is our second load of grain being delivered up here. This time we're delivering a little over 58,000 litres. Combine that with the 62,000 litres that we delivered, it means we should have around about 120,000 litres or so of wheat up here. That's more than enough to keep our cows going, I think. And we'll keep the rest of it at the dairy, at the main farm, just in case we need to raise a little bit of extra cash. We'll have some wheat to sell. Meanwhile, back on the main farm here on the wheat field, you can see that we have now pressed our Optum into service, pulling the big body. This is what we're going to be using to unload the harvester with for the remainder of the field, just because it's easier to unload a large quantity and then take straight to the silos rather than messing around with an auger truck with a long pipe into another trailer, into the silo, or just into the silo with the auger. This is easier and it's quicker as well. It's a faster moving vehicle. So we'll get this parked up at the other end of the field, waiting for the combine to come back again, and then we can start positioning our equipment ready for the next field. Just completing the last thin strip that's left over on this field. I completely forgot that we are spitting straw out, so we're spitting some straw out into the grass behind the harvester, as you can see. It's a little messy, but I can tidy that up, there's no real issue. And it looks as though we are just about going to get away with the capacity of this trailer as well. I think the capacity on this big body, if memory serves me correct, is 46,900. So you can see we're a couple of thousand underneath that, and we've just got this tiny little bit left, so just about got away with it without having to tip and come back. And there we go. Our wheat harvest is complete. So you know what? I'm in two minds. I think I'm just going to take this up to the farm. There's so little to store down here that I'm just going to take this up and store this with the animals as well. Like I said, money is not too much of an issue. As long as we're careful, then we can live off our milk money for a while. The only thing that I am a little concerned about with this trailer is that it's too tall for some things, and it wobbles like crazy as well. Look at it wobbling. I just don't know if this is the right tractor, if it's suitable for this tractor or not. I mean, we've got enough power. Power's not really an issue, but I'm just thinking size maybe. Look at what it's doing to my tractor. It's shaking it like crazy. I think this might be something that we need to sell and replace with something else. Because it doesn't like this tractor. And that was the main reason I bought this trailer, was something that would be big enough to handle grain and transporting, but also not too big that, you know, we could use the Optum, because we've got our quad track and our Challenger for, you know, the seeding and the cultivating jobs. We don't really have anything for this unless we swap seeding, and when we use the Optum for seeding and we use the quad track for pulling this. I might try that on the next field when we do our corn harvest. I might try using the quad track with this trailer and see if it still shakes like crazy. Look at that bouncing. Yes, yeah, this trailer tractor combination is not a good one. It's really fighting us. In fact, actually, we've got a tippable trailer here. Let's see just how much wheat we need for our pigs. Yeah, this trailer is not suitable for this Optum. So we'll let the Juno do its thing, and then we'll pull in and start tipping. Come on, move forward, move forward. There we go. How much? Is that it? That's not too bad, I suppose. We're going to have plenty of wheat up here. Probably way more than we'll need. But it means that we don't have to worry about, you know, dealing with, you know, wheat for our pigs for a very long time now. Yeah, so we may as well just tip this up here. So that's the grain element taken care of. We obviously still need the corn, and we still need the canola / sunflowers, etc. element taken care of as well. We've got the root crop dealt with. I did actually tidy the root crop area up just a little bit. It was suggested to me that I actually pallet that pile of beets there and store it that way, and I'm really quite keen to do that, but I am also very wary of it generating a large amount of lag. So we'll give it a try. At some point I do need to get that pallet making conveyor belt, and I do like the idea of storing my beets in pallets, but like I say, I am a little wary of it generating a large amount of lag if we've got too many pallets stacked there. So we'll see how that goes. We're back to picking up straw, as you can see. Dropped the trailer off in the next field, parked it up near our Holmer and our truck, so they're ready for harvesting our corn. We've still got all of this straw that we need to take care of, so all of this needs to be picked up or baled, or combination of the two. Plus we need to move our combine over, collect our corn header and get that moved over. We're going to do the corn harvest in the next episode, so that'll be episode 11, but for this one we're going to continue with this straw work. So I want to make sure that we get straw down from our pigs and then get some straw stuck into our silo as well, so that we have a nice store built up. We've got plenty of grain, and we're struggling on here as well. I'm getting bounced all over the place in the Optum today. It's really quite violent in here. I don't know if this is ground response, if it's because of the trailer. Let's see what happens when we pull off the field. It's all nice and smooth again. Maybe it was just working the field that was causing those vibrations. Whereas, we noticed that with the truck, or with the trailer, it was more than just the field that was causing those vibrations. The truck was just, well, the trailer was just too powerful, too heavy, I think, for the Optum, causing it to rattle and vibrate quite violently just driving down a smooth tabletop surface like this road here. So here we are, pulling into the pig area, and we need to open the pig gates this time out, because this is where our straw tip area is for the pigs. I'll turn the interactive zone markers off, but there is the straw zone. If I hop out and just jump over the fence, you can actually see this is where it begins. So it's this area here. So around about here, I think, is going to be our straw area. So this is the tip zone where our tractor's sitting right now. You can see the little tip symbols popped up in the corner, and there we go. The straw goes down. Is that all they need? 12,000 litres, that's all they need. Wow, I thought they would need more than that. I mean, we've got over 100 of them. And one thing I've noticed as well with the corn, because we have food that's being spat out, it's the same with the cows. To a degree, as long as you have something that's picking up all the time, you don't necessarily need to make sure that you're constantly feeding grass in there. You can see that we have corn, even though we haven't had any corn in there for a while, because food is being consumed. The bit that's being spat out in the food trough to represent the mess, it spits out as corn. So the Lely Juno picks it up and immediately feeds it straight back into the trough. So we actually have corn counted, even though we don't technically have any corn. I think that's kind of cool. We should see the productivity of the cows, the pigs go up. I'm not sure why it's gone down, actually. We've just added, maybe the wheat hasn't processed yet. But let's back up out of here. If we can, without tagging the gates. There we go. Just close those up. And we're going to go and drop this up with our cows. Ooh, nearly missed the turn there. And we may as well give them a top up, seeing as we have left over in the back of this loading trailer. Make sure that they're fully stocked, because we never quite hit that last time out. We hit 42,000 litres. And we ran out before we actually filled the trough. Well, this time we'll actually make sure it's completely full. We shouldn't use much at all from this. There we go. Just literally, just what, 3,000 litres was all we needed to finish it off. So the rest of this will go into our forage silo just over here. And now I can kind of work out roughly how much I'm going to need to bring up into storage to make sure we have a decent amount. I want to sell some of the straw because I want to try out that incinerator. So let's have a look. We've got 45,000 litres plus 12.5. So we need, let's say 15,000. So we need 60,000 litres per week of straw. That's not too bad. So we need, I would say, 200,000 litres of straw up in this silo to make sure that we've got a nice little supply, a 3-week supply kind of thing of straw. So I'm going to carry on transporting the straw up until we've made around about 200,000 litres. So that's another 4 trips, give or take. And then once I've done that, the rest will get baled. So this is the last container of straw we'll be bringing up here. I think this is going to put us at around 220 odd thousand litres or so. Actually, a little bit more than that by the look of it. But as you can see here, look, we have a great demand for corn. It's a great dilemma. We have this corn harvest that's ready to go. The price is dropping already, so we need to kind of basically get on it straight away. So we're going to have to store some corn up here for the pigs, but we're basically just going to have a single trailer, I think. And then the rest we're just going to sell. We're going to try and make hay while the sun shines, so to speak. And cash in, because that price is fantastic, over 1,000. It's dropping all the time, unfortunately. So by the time we actually have corn to sell, it's not going to be that high. It's going to be lower than that, but we'll see how low it drops. That may also influence my decision as to whether or not we actually go ahead and push through with the sale. But it'd be a shame to kind of look a gift horse in the mouth. We've had, what, 3 great demands already that have been new for something that we've been growing but hasn't been available to us when the crop is actually ready. Now we have one, the crop is ready but needs harvesting. So I think next episode we will really get on that and harvest. That's it for the end of this episode. We'll do the baling another day, probably once we finish the corn harvest. And then obviously next time out we're going to get that corn harvested and then potentially be selling some via the railroad as well. So thanks for watching. I am Jim Bob, and I'll be back with another episode of American Midwest very soon.